So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me. simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Now, if you'd like to send us an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV. And to find out about the programming we have available for you 24/7, 365 on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit www.xzbn.net. And for the X Zone TV channel, on Simul TV, by the way, it's channel 21, www.simultv.com. Exonation, my guest this hour is author and adventurist Ron Morehead. He's the producer of the Sierra Sounds, has been known for decades for his worldwide research into the Bigfoot Sasquatch phenomenon. To date, he comes closer than any other researcher to having a complete body of evidence. The Sierra Sounds are the only Bigfoot recordings that have been scientifically studied, time-tested, and accredited as genuine. Ron has documented his personal instructions with these giant beings and produced his story on a CD and also in a book entitled Voices in the Wilderness. Joining me now is Ron Morehead. And Ron, welcome back to the X Zone. Great talking to you again.
Well, thank you, Rob. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Ron, for the listeners who may be hearing you for the first time on our show, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into being a Bigfoot Sasquatch researcher?
Yeah, sure. I got into it, actually wasn't looking for Bigfoot at all. It was a hunting camp in 1971, and I went in there. There was 6 of us all together, and these beings started coming around the camp in the evening time, mouthing off and chattering, and they would take food we left out for them. So that started in 1971. In 1972, we got an investigative reporter to come in to kind of write down what's going on, and we did that through Ivan Sanderson years ago, and he related it to Peter Byrne. The reporter that Peter Byrne asked to come in was Alan Berry. And he started recording the creatures like we were, because they kept coming in each time we go into the camp. And it's a remote camp, 8 miles into the wilderness, very inaccessible. We have to take our supplies in on mules, and you had to walk or ride a horse, one or the other. You can't get in any other way. So anyway, that's how it began for me. And Alan Berry, I got to credit him, we all do, for fostering the study at the University of Wyoming on the sounds that he recorded, and we was all recording, but he got some very clear ones, and had a Professor Curlins do a year-long study on them, showing that they were not manipulated, speeded up, slowed down, or no foul play in any way. So he got that, which was a big deal.
Sure.
But it wasn't until 2008 till a cryptolinguist heard them, and he thought he heard some language in there. So, which we knew they were chattering amongst themselves, and similar to Albert Ostman's account in 1924, like he said, they were chattering amongst themselves. And so he took them and studied them, listened to them, came all the way out from Missouri to interview us. It was that big a deal to him because he says, if this is a language, and he said, it is a language, by the way, he found out after he studied them. And he transcribed this language. And when I say language, I mean the human definition of language. It means they have to have the same type of vocal apparatus that humans do, at least one that'll do what we do. And they also have to have a morpheme stream in their words, which is like a group of words that make a cognizant sentence. And that's what we have. And only humans are supposed to have that. So all of a sudden you got some other bipedal hominid out there that's got the same attributes we do as far as language goes. Now, they got a lot more than that, though. After studying them for the 47 years now, I've come to some interesting... I've put some interesting dots in my little puzzle trying to figure these things out.
Well, let me ask you, Ron. Prior to your encounter, did you believe in Bigfoot?
Well, I didn't disbelieve, but I guess I was neutral. We weren't looking for anything like this at all. I remember the Patterson film, 1967, just a few years before we encountered him. And, that's all I knew was that somebody had said they'd filmed one up there, and I think I'd seen that film. But other than that, I wasn't really an enthusiast of any kind. But when I ran into him myself up there, it kind of changes your mind. You realize there's something very, very big and very, very sapient. They are sapient, by the way. They're not just some dumb animal running around in the woods like so many people think they probably are. They want to dig a hole and trap them or go out and shoot them. They're more than that. And I think I've came to some realizations that perhaps they could be, possibly from alien intervention into a genome of some type of primate, and altering the DNA to give them the sapience that they have. Of course, that makes them a hybrid, but then I think we're all hybrids.
So how come there nobody has actually caught or has acquired physical evidence of the Bigfoot? Are they that more intelligent that they know how to avoid being caught?
Absolutely. Yes, they are. I mean, we tried so many tricks up there, and this before I realized just how significant this thing was, trying to trick them, trying to get a picture. All we could capture was their vocalizations, and that's what brought me here today with you, is these vocalizations, because it's kind of gotten known worldwide now as being very credible, and they are credible. More recently, we had a gentleman named Thinker Thunker. Maybe you heard of him. I don't know. He's got a website. He did a little analysis on our Sierra sounds, and he says that they have 5 octaves in one tone, which is humanly impossible. And no animal known on Earth can do that, and no human can do that. So I'm trying to get that corroborated now by a bioacoustical engineer with a PhD behind his name. It seems like you have to have those sort of things before anybody's going to buy it, And so I'm just trying to do my homework and get that there, because if that comes out, that should be the smoking gun on these things. So you would think that the credibility behind the sounds that we captured up there and the different men that was involved, and we all have the same, we all were there. So anyway, it goes on and on from there. It's kind of fun, but it's also very exciting at the same time.
Now, did you yourself get to see a Bigfoot? And if you did, what did it look like?
Well, I did in 1974. This is 3 years after we first encountered him in 71. I just got a glimpse of it, Rob, so I can't really tell you the details of its face, but I can tell you it was moving extremely fast through the trees. I recorded this on my cassette recorder. That's what we had in those days. And while they were making their vocalizations, there was 3 of them, we believe. One behind me, and that's where the the samurai cry come from that they've coined as the samurai cry. It's a big yell behind me, and he was yelling at the two, which I think was an adolescent and a female down below. Mm-hmm. And I seen him streaking through the trees, and I mean, he was going so fast, inhumanly. And we're talking about logs and everything else in his way, but he just floated through there like inhuman. It was really incredible. And so that was my glimpse. When I say glimpse, the other gentleman that was with me, he's my packing buddy. We came in on horses, mules, brought some supplies in, and he also got some glimpses that night. So it was an interesting night because up till then they had never really interacted with us until we were inside the shelter, which kind of like a big beaver's nest with deadfall around some trees. And it wasn't until this night in '74 till they really started showing themselves more boldly than ever before, and making these sounds, wood knocking, limbs cracking, whooping, and it was just an incredible evening that night. And they came back the next night, but the other guys that came in, and that kind of blew it, because one of the guys just got frustrated because we've been trying to capture something on these things for so long. He got up with his rifle and his flashlight and just, I'm going to find out what these things are all about once and for all. And he goes marching out there with his rifle and shining his flashlight everywhere, and that was it for the rest of that weekend.
All right, so when were these sounds recorded? Going back to 74?
Going back to 71.
Going back to 71, wow.
Yeah, 71, 72, all the way through 76, actually. And that was the last time we had the close-in sounds. But there's some more enigmas up there that's besides the sounds that you might want to get into on this program. I don't know, but
sure.
We were there 2 years ago, my wife and I, and we saw this elongated light. Not that that's unusual. We see strange things up there all the time. I've heard strange things we can't account for, but this light was about 3 foot long, and it was just a glowing light come waltzing through the trees. Probably 40, 50 feet above our little tent we had set up. And the shelter had been taken down in 2015.
All right, Ron, we're going to have a bit of a cliffhanger here. I have to take my first break.
Sure.
Ron Morehead is my special guest this hour, X-Zone Nation. He has a CD and a book entitled Voices in the Wilderness. His website, www.ronmorehead.com. And Ron and I will be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. I'm Rob McConnell. Don't go away.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shaman worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light. Exonation Ron Morehead is our special guest. His website is ronmorehead.com. Now, Ron, going back to 1971, had you and your party gone to this area looking for Bigfoot, or was this just a chance encounter?
It was a chance encounter. The Johnson brothers had been going up there since 1958, actually. Mm-hmm. So they were my seniors, and I'm not sure. I know one of them passed away. I'm not sure if the other one's still alive or not. But they were originals in that camp since the 1950s. So we're not sure, but we think maybe these beings had been observing them for quite some time. It wasn't until 71 until they let their presence be known by coming into the camp itself and taking some food that was left on the old stove that we had packed in. So that's how it kind of began, and it didn't frighten them off. They didn't shoot at them. They have guns. We all had guns. We always had guns. So these people that say they just don't have guns, or you won't encounter them, well, that wasn't the case with us.
Now, going back to 71, was it something that you and your team, your friends, automatically were, said to each other, my God, this is Bigfoot. Look what we've discovered.
Well, when you see their track, which they did when they heard their vocalizations out there by the stove, later when it all stopped, they went out there with their flashlights and seen the big track. And this was early in 71. Mm-hmm. And they seen this big, huge 5-toed track, and they realized, even by the sounds, that it wasn't a bear. They're avid hunters. These guys are, oh gosh, they could strike a match at 100 yards, I think.
Wow.
Good hunters. They knew the wilderness. They know the area. And no, they knew it was something with a big foot. And I guess that's what they call them, Bigfoot. It wasn't until 72 when Al Berry was invited in. He got word that we had this and wanted to investigate it. But he went in looking for a hoax, actually. He went in, this is a pretty incredible story that Warren Johnson sent to Ivan Sanderson in a 23-page handwritten letter explaining what was going on, but he didn't buy it. Ivan Sanderson didn't. He sent it to Peter Byrne, who in turn got a hold of Al Berry, who came down and interviewed us, and we ended up inviting him in. And he told me always stay with science, but there's things that science, classical science anyway, couldn't answer up there. The lights, the sounds that we'd hear, there's no source that we could find as far as the big tuning fork sound that you hear in the daytime right above your head, and you look up and you just don't see it. It's like a 2-ton hummingbird or something like that. And there's times where I tell people this, and it's in my book, Voices in Wilderness, that you think this sound is something out there is tearing up our camp. The barrels that we've hauled in on mules and kept our supplies in, secured it from the bears and all, and you think that's being tore apart and just everything being thrown all over the mountainside, and you go out there and look later on and nothing's changed. Now, that's pretty unusual. And there's other things that's happened up there, too, that I write about in my book.
Sure.
But, staying with science, I thought, because Al Berry said, well, don't talk about this strange stuff that goes on up here. You'll lose credibility, and you won't be able to tell anybody about this later on in life. And so for a long time, we didn't talk about it, but I started talking about it. In fact, last year, I wrote another book called The Quantum Bigfoot, and gets into the science that's possibly behind how these beings do what they do. I've had so many reports over the year, interviewing people for 40-some-odd years, and
right.
They talk about how they saw them disappear, they've had this happen, that happen, and things that just doesn't make any sense at all in our classical paradigm that we've got. We're all raised to think that everything is material or physical, and in quantum physics, that's just not the case. It has classical science, 1687 by Isaac Newton, is what we've all been taught is what we have to live by, our five senses, and that's all we got. But there's more, and that more gets right into how this stuff can happen, and that's what I write about in my recent book, Quantum Bigfoot. I sell a lot of those, too. It's really...
All right, let's talk about the quantum aspect of it. Quantum physics is basically mostly theory, so how can we apply a theory and push away established science?
Well, first of all, it's a theory that's it's not considered a theory as you would think of a theory, because it's established by mathematics. This is what Einstein worked with. This is what Tesla worked with. Bohr. All these guys worked with the quantum science, and it's only a little over 100 years old. So you can reproduce it mathematically, but you'll never see it, because it's how the universe works. It's everything. I mean, is there time travel?
But
Stephen Hawking says there's time travel. That you can do that. It's
to
everything's a vibrational frequency.
I understand that. I understand that. But to say you can do something and actually do it many times are two different things, Ron.
Well, you can't physically do it, but you can mathematically do it.
But mathematically, you can do things that will not produce something that is physical, like a Bigfoot.
You got microwave ovens. You got all those things are in the quantum realm.
Yes, but we
that.
Well, sure we do. We understand how the mechanics of microwaves work. We understand that it was initially by accident that the microwave oven were discovered. We understand this. But when it comes to the actual manifestation and evidential path that some people are looking for using quantum physics, how do we tie that into reality?
Well, quantum physics, according to them, that is reality. What we see is not reality. It's just.
Well, do you buy that? Do you buy that?
This is hard to get your head around. It's hard for anybody to get their head around.
The hard part to get around is that if we're not living in a physical world, if our world is nothing else but a basic holograph, then life doesn't matter, death doesn't matter, and the people who are telling us that this is a non-realistic or non-reality dimension that we're in, they don't exist. So where do we draw the line?
Well, I think you just have to open your mind up that there is more than what we can see. There's more than just material or physical things. And if you can accept that, if you can accept that there is other dimensions, which according to the math and quantum physics, there are other dimensions. We live in 3, but there's a lot more than that. And if you can believe that, and you believe Einstein, believe Tesla, believe these guys who went by this, then you can at least step into the realm of understanding that there is more going on than what you can see with your eyes. We only see within a frequency, within the light's frequency. There's so many more frequencies going on that we don't see. And that's I guess, what I'm saying is you got to understand that that these other dimensions exist that we don't see with our eyes.
Is it that we need to understand or we need to believe?
Both. You have to believe. And if you get into I got into my book, Quantum Bigfoot, I put spirituality back with quantum physics and science because that's where Einstein, Tesla, and these guys were. They're on the same plane. They're synonymous as far as I'm concerned. As far as they were concerned, they're synonymous because, like, even you get into the biblical accounts, some of the miracles that happened, things that happened, that gets into the quantum realm of reality. And that is reality, the quantum realm. It's how the universe works according to the physicists, and this is pretty much worldwide.
All right, so let's take the possibility that they're right and the rest of the world is wrong.
Well, it's not quite like that. I don't think the rest of the world is wrong. You're right. You have to keep... Even Edgar Mitchell, the astronaut, he said it takes quantum and classical sciences together to have clear perception. And I believe that. You can't disregard what you're seeing. You can't just say, well, this microphone doesn't exist.
But you because you can touch it.
Yeah,
you bought it with money that you earned. We're not talking about something that only exists in a holographic environment, because if it exists only in a holographic environment, why did you have to use your hard-earned money in order to buy something that really isn't there?
Well, that's a good question. But, I got to say, quantum science is real, and it's accepted by millions of physicists all over the world. And people who don't accept it just don't want to believe that anything else exists outside of what they can see, hear, think, or smell.
But what's wrong with evidence? What's wrong with evidence?
Nothing's wrong with evidence.
What quantum physics?
Science.
What quantum physics does is that it says, well, you don't need evidence. All you need is mathematics.
Oh, I'm not so sure about that. Mathematics is how quantum physics was, because classical science did not answer all the questions that are out there. I mean, how far is it to the end of the universe? Where are you going to get the evidence for that? Can anybody answer that? I don't think so. There's a lot of things that you can't answer with classical means.
You look up in the sky, you see the heavens, you know that the universe is there, you know that it goes on and on and on and on, because you can see it with your eyes. But when it comes to a lot of the stuff that quantum physicists are trying to pass off as, well, you can't see it because it's in a different dimension or a different reality, I have a hard time buying that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I imagine a lot of people do, but it's truth, and it's there, and I think anybody that delves into it deeper and sees the stuff that's behind it, the information that's behind it all, will buy into it.
All right, stand by. We've got to take our news break at the bottom of the hour, and Exonation Ron Morehead is our guest. www.ronmorehead.com, and we'll both be back as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by L.A. Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Exonation Ron Morehead is our very special guest this hour. His website is ronmorehead.com. That's www.ronmorehead.com. Ron, with reference to the audio tracks that you were able to acquire from your camp going back to 1971, if quantum physics are saying that this reality that we are in is not real, but it's holographic, how do you explain the audio tracks that you recorded that you're calling voices in the wilderness?
Well, they were physical beings. When they're in our dimension, when they're something that makes tracks, leaves sounds,
right.
They are in our three-dimensional world environment.
Okay. So when they come here to this dimension, is our dimension real?
Well, it's real to us. It's what we can see. It's just that there's more of it. There's more going on than what we can see.
Okay.
And do you believe in miracles? Let me ask you that, Rob.
I'm an ex-police detective.
Good.
I deal in facts. I don't deal in supposition. I deal in evidence. I thought when I do an investigation, I do an in-depth investigation based on facts, witness testimony, the crime scene evidence. I just don't say or try to put something into context using quantum physics, because I have to deal with the reality, because people 9 times out of 10 suffer. And this suffering is caused by actions, cause and effect, here in this reality that we're in. So I cannot, in order for me to believe something, I need to see it.
Well, do you believe anything happens when you die? Does your energy go anywhere, or does it just as I just did? Because quantum physics says everything at its most minute level is energy,
right?
Creating a vibrational frequency, a vibrational wave, and it cannot die, according to Stephen Hawking. Now we're discussing physics who have studied this stuff all their life, and they say this stuff, and I tend to believe them because I've run into some things I can't answer through classical means, and you being a detective would have been great to have you up there then, because that's what Al Berry was trying to do. He's trying to figure out how this stuff was going on.
Right.
The lights in the sky, we thought we saw in a big, I did see, me and another guy seen this big ball of light coming down, controlled, huge, and we lost it behind the tree line, but we've seen other things up there too that just didn't make any sense in the classical world.
Right.
And it's something with intelligence beyond what we understand at this point. So that kind of got me into quantum physics years and years ago. I'm not a physicist, but I think I got a little bit of a handle on it. I've been into Peru and Bolivia, looked at these enigmatic remains of people that were not human, and not totally human, and how they did the megalithic structures down there is uncanny. We can't do that today.
Well, that doesn't mean we couldn't have done it in the past. There's a lot of lost history that we're just finding out about today. So
but it's superior to what we understand today.
But that doesn't mean we could not have done it in the past.
Well, you say we. You're talking about
the human race. Yeah, I don't believe in alien intervention. I really don't. I can't buy that. I don't believe in ancient astronauts. I don't believe that the governments of the world have this massive conspiracy to suppress the information from us. There's no evidence to support any of these claims. This traditional scientific evidence.
So you don't believe that aliens have been here or that UFOs exist?
I believe a UFO is an unidentified flying object. I'll agree with that.
Not from the cosmos, though.
No, I really don't think. Once again, there's no evidence to substantiate these claims. And in fact, when we look back in time, all this hoopla really started with the advent of the Internet. Because, look what's happened to the publishing industry. Anybody can publish their own book. It doesn't need to be vetted. It doesn't have to be edited. People are kind of going off the deep end. And anybody with $13 can get themselves a domain name, open up a website, and bang, there you go. In my opinion, the largest septic tank in the world is the Internet because there's more crap in it than there is anything else. I want to believe. I want proof. I'm not going to take hearsay evidence. I'm not going to take anything except proof. And that's why I continue to do this show, because I want to either find the truth, find the proof, or expose the lies.
Mm-hmm. Well, good for you. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Let's just stay with the facts then.
Sure.
These sounds have been scientifically studied.
Mm-hmm.
Something with intelligence made them, and it wasn't human.
Right.
And so that's what we got now. And that's what we go with, because we know that exists. But
yes,
what
exactly.
answers the other questions that we ran into up there, all of us, the other enigmas?
What other enigmas were there? Let's talk about those.
The biggest deal was the sounds we couldn't identify. Like I told you earlier, that there was a clicking sound that came right through into our shelter one time. I got a list of them, but anyway, things that. And believe me, we're not all dummies up there.
Oh, listen, I'm not.
Well, we were businessmen, and we were trying to figure this out.
I'm not doubting you. I'm not doubting you. I'm not doubting your authenticity one bit. I'm not.
Well, you want the proof. Proof.
You've got recordings.
I'm just trying to answer the questions that so many people have had over the years, and I've been interviewing people now for 40-some-odd years, and they've got these strange stories that just. Wow, where do you get the answer to it in classical science? You don't. You have to step into, I think, the other science of quantum physics, and that's what I did in my book, my newest book. What
happens? And this is a hypothetical question. What happens if, let's say, 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, 15 years from now, a new math is developed, proving Einstein and modern-day physicists wrong?
Well, I think they've been trying to do that for a long time.
But what happens the day that happens?
Well, you say it's going to happen. It's like saying 2 and 2 is not going to equal 4 someday.
I said hypothetically. What happens? Okay. What happens if that happens?
Well, if it happens, I guess we got to revamp everything. But I don't think that's going to happen because the math on this stuff has been checked out for years now, and it's been recreated and substantiated through
with the mathematic equations and formulas that we know based on the math that was created by mankind. So what happens if there is a new math that is created with the assistance of computers that proves that the math that was created by mankind was wrong?
Wouldn't that be interesting?
It's a possibility. Artificial intelligence is going leaps and leaps ahead. Look what it's done to our technological ages. Look what it's doing to our environment. Look what it's doing to society. My goodness, look what it's done to Google and Amazon.
Interesting world we're living in.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. That is truly putting it mildly. But
things are expanding very rapidly.
Is it possible that technology is expanding too fast for human comprehension?
Let's hope not. Let's hope not. I think that's what the Mayan calendar was all about from 2012, was that a new age is opening up for information. We're just being inundated with new information nowadays, it seems like. And that's a good thing, because I think some of us are handling it, some of us are not.
Yeah, that Mayan calendar thing was a bit of a fiasco. Like, we did an entire TV series down in Mexico in the Mayan areas, and we went to different areas and spoke to Mayan elders, and they thought it was the most ridiculous thing that they had ever heard, that their calendar predicted the end of the world or the end of a change in time. In fact, one of the Mayan elders said to me, he said, in Canada, at the end of the year, do you take down your calendar for that year, or do you leave it up for the next year? I said, well, no, we take it down. He said, well, that's what we did. We took down the old calendar, and the new calendar started.
Mm-hmm.
So where did all this other stuff
well,
about the end of the world come
I never
from?
did believe the end of the world was coming because of the Mayan calendar.
But so many people did. But so many people did, Ron.
Oh, I know. I didn't store up my grain or anything like that.
Hey, Ron, you and I have to take our final break. Please stand by. Exonation Ron Morehead is our special guest, www.ronmorehead.com. And he has his story on a CD and also in a book entitled Voices in the Wilderness. And Ron and I will be back as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, you can get this edition of the X Chronicles newspaper. We've been publishing it since 1990 every month. And you can pick it up with our compliments and the compliments of our advertisers. And, of course, Simul Radio and Simul TV at www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. Don't go away.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Path Home Shamanic Art School has just launched a new online series of classes, Galactic Shamanism, Art of the Ancients, Key to Tomorrow. In these classes, composed and taught by Path Home founder and director Gwilda Wiyaka, you'll learn practical shamanic skills to support your daily life, such as how to build a medicine wheel to access the power of the earth, perform a shamanic journey, create sacred space in which to live and work, empower your life with totem animals, elementals, and fairy folk, and learn the art of accurately reading signs and omens. These tried and true skills are the key to living a powerful, productive life. Visit us at findyourpathhome.com to see the ever-growing collection of classes and leading-edge information to support you during these times of uncertainty and transition. All can be found at findyourpathhome.com.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along?
The new book by Eli Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now to receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
Ron Morehead is our very special guest this hour, Exonation, www.ronmorehead.com. First of all, Ron, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, and I have to ask you a question that I just thought of during the last break. When you and your friends who back in 1971 recorded these sounds and you actually went out and you saw these large footprints, did you guys go investigating in the approximate area where this was? And if so, did you find anything?
Oh yes, we've investigated all over the mountains up in there, and that's what Alberti did in '72 when he went in. He started looking for who could be pulling this off, and not leaving any signs other than their footprints and allowing us to record their vocalizations. But yeah, we've found tracks outside of our camp area on different occasions, and yeah, they were around that mountainside, and they still are, I think. Of course, if it didn't burn them out, the whole area burned up here in the California fires just recently.
Now, did you happen to find anything that resembled a community of these where these Bigfoot might have gathered? For example, nesting places, huts, or whatever, or however they protect themselves against the elements?
No, never did. Wow. We looked too, and I mean, I know that the whole mountain area very well, and so the Johnsons. We were always looking for where they could be. There's some pretty inaccessible areas there, which doesn't mean they couldn't be in a cave around there someplace, but we never could find it. But then you can't get to some of those places. It's just really imposing to get to.
I'm sorry, sir.
No, you just can't get to them.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to do that. In fact, I went up there with a drone this last year, hoping to maybe get around there and spy on some of those mountainsides. But something happened with the drone. It was so smoky you couldn't see anyway.
Really?
The fires were moving in.
Well, I was going to ask you, have you or your friends ever thought of putting up trail cams and seeing what happens, or
Yeah, well, trail cams haven't gotten anywhere with anybody to speak of. There's a trail cam up there right now. There was anyway. I don't know if it burned up or not, but at our camp, one of the guys did that. And but the trail cams, I think they can either sense the energy of the battery or something, because they seem to be able to evade those pretty easily. And I'm involved up here in Washington with a group that puts trail cams out all over the mountains, and they've never captured anything yet. There's been a lot of Bigfoot seen in the areas, but
have members of the Forestry Service or law enforcement seen the Bigfoot?
Yes. In fact, I know a gentleman about 20 miles away from me who's retired now as a deputy, and he saw one run right in front of his car. And they're reported quite regularly here in the Olympics, in the Olympic area. And all over Washington, actually get into Oregon. My daughter's down there. I used to live in Oregon too, and there's a lot of reports of them. They're pretty rampant. These people are seeing them more often than you would suspect, really. But they're multiplying, I believe, and we're more intrusive into the forest areas.
Right.
So I think they're being seen more often because of that.
With all the electronics that we have today, and especially everyone has a cell phone that has a high-definition camera in it, how come no one has taken that all-important smoking gun photo yet?
Well, that's what everybody says. How come you can't get a picture? these things are just one step ahead of you, and I got to say, they're just so intuitive that it's hard for us to understand how something like that can be ahead of us, because we're supposed to be the top of the food chain here, right?
Well, supposed to be.
Supposed to be. I'm not so sure we are. These things, whatever they do and however they do it, we don't really fully understand, but they have been very evasive, and they're very stealthy. You'd think that, and someone will do that someday. And it seems like all the pictures that come in front of me are fuzzy, blurry, something like that. The Patterson-Gimlin film, 1967, there at Bluff Creek, is probably some of the best evidence that we've got besides these sounds.
Now, Roger Patterson did not have a crystal clear reputation. He was known as a bit of a storyteller. You know, when Bob Hieronymus came out and said that he was the man in the suit, he passed a polygraph test. You know, you had this other person who said that I made that suit. I was there with Patterson and Gimlin. It was staged. So who do you believe?
Well, a lot of people want to believe that, but that film has been studied only second to the Kennedy assassination and the Russians, and we've had forensic people look at that, and no, it's not a man in a fursuit. Now, I wouldn't put it past Roger having planned something like that, but that was not what happened that day in 1967. I know Bob Gimlin very well. He was there, and I know he didn't have any part of something like that. Rogers died, a long time ago. But what happened there, we've had, like I say, the technology wasn't there for a suit like that in 1967. According to Disney, the professionals down there and all over. And the Russians have studied that thoroughly. The investigators that I know, the scientists that I deal with and work with quite regularly, all believe that film is real. And it's not because they want to believe it, it's because the facts point to it couldn't have been done by a man in a suit. The long arms, the way that everything moved,
right.
No, it wasn't. It was real. So Bob... Hieronymus, is that his name?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they just figured he probably was going to do something like that, but that's not what happened that day.
Are there Bigfoot sightings around the world, or are they just something
around
that
the world?
Really?
Rob, they're in Australia, they're in Russia, they're the Yowie in China. The Yowie's in Australia, the Yuran in China. There's been 120 sightings there in the last few years, and it's just, they're all over the world, and it's amazing how what's going on. And I think we're going to get some pretty good DNA shortly this next year. That's going to be pretty substantial and establish these creatures as being another hominid that we just haven't logged in.
But once again, let me ask you, if these creatures are all over the world and you have all these countries that have researchers, whether professional or amateur, out in the woods trying to find these creatures, how come they haven't been found yet? I really can't understand that this creature is so highly advanced that it knows not to get caught, especially when Roger Patterson was able to get the alleged smoking gun to their existence in Bluff Creek. Something doesn't make sense here.
Well, it's there's not that many of them. They're not like ants crawling around the mountains. These things are very elusive. They're very stealthy. It's like somebody walking into your living room when you're there and you're not knowing it. You're going to know it. These things are in tune to their environment to the nth degree. They are very in tune to the human exploitation of them. But they are hominids. They are some type of, I think they're hybrids. I think they got human DNA in their mitochondrial DNA, which we'll find out, I think, this next year for sure. There's been a couple of geneticists come up with that, but immediately it gets thrown out because, it's got human in it, so it must be contaminated. But if you get into the nuclear DNA, which is the male counterpart, which would say what the father was, they can't determine that.
Right.
So that puts them into a whole other ball game there, another category.
But what happens with all this new technology and scientific investigation? If it comes back and says, "Sorry guys, nothing here."
Well, that doesn't mean the accident didn't happen just because you didn't see it.
But if you're looking for evidence and there is no evidence, what does that mean?
Well, there will be evidence. You just have to keep looking for it.
So you keep doing the jigsaw puzzle until you find the piece that fits.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to put it. But you just got to keep looking. I've been all over the world. I've been into Russia. I spoke at the Darwin Museum of National Science in Moscow.
Right.
I've been into Siberia. I've been into, like I say, Nepal. I've been into South. I've been all over trying to research these enigmas or these beings to see what they could be. The elongated skulls down in Peru and Bolivia, those are not natural. I mean, they're not cradle-boarded. The ones we found down there, I was on 2 different expeditions with 2 different scientists in 2 different years, and they're elongated. They got about 30% more brain matter, and they don't have a sagittal suture in their head. They got a single parietal. We have 2 parietals on each side. They think they're responsible for those megalithic structures which are there. They had super intelligence. I believe they moved those boulders, which are weighed over 100 ton, a lot of them, put together like a jigsaw puzzle with vibrational frequency. And everything, you get down to minute level of even us, is like I said before, vibration.
Ron, time has come. You and I have to say so long. And X Zone Nation, our guest this hour has been Ron Morehead. His website is ronmorehead.com. Ron Morehead. Talking about elongated skulls there. I don't know, X Zone Nation. You know me. I want to see the proof. I don't want to hear the bibble-babble or the drizzle-drabble. I want proof. And so far, after 30 years of doing 29 years of doing the show, 30 years in a little while, sorry, no proof, no evidence yet. And I certainly don't think that so-called quantum physics is going to give anything else but more BS evidence to those who really want to believe because they need something to cling on to. Klingons, Morehead, elongated skulls. Anyway, we'll be back on the other side of this break. To put it mildly, I'm not a believer. I want to believe, but until I see the evidence, I won't.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.